everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the chef at Revive Wellness and My Viva Plan. And today I wanted to show you a few different ways to prepare ground beef. I chose ground beef because it is a relatively inexpensive ingredient. It's easy to find, you can pretty much buy it anywhere. It's a great source of protein and it's really versatile, so you can do so many different things with it. So some of the recipes I am going to show you may already be familiar to you, and some maybe some new ideas that you have maybe never tried before. So hopefully this video will be helpful to you. The next recipe I want to show you with ground beef is for a recipe for Bolognese sauce, which is just your basic tomato and meat sauce that you usually serve over pasta. This one can be found on My Viva Plan, so if you want to access the recipe, it's on there. It might be another familiar recipe to you, something you've probably made at home, or maybe not. Please give it a try if you haven't already. But for those of you who may already be familiar with it, there's a few elements in there that might be different about it. So this one has a few added veggies in there, so you get a lot of extra nutrition, lots of extra flavor. It's a great recipe. So let's get started. The first step in this recipe is cooking off your ground beef and just making sure it's thoroughly cooked and all the way brown. I've done that here already. There's not really much to it. You just throw it in a pan and cook it off until it's thoroughly cooked. And then we're going to add some vegetables here. So I just want to show you those up close. This is carrot, celery, and onion. What I did here was coarsely chop them and then add them to the bowl of a food processor and then pulse it until it creates sort of this fine mixture. The reason being is when it cooks into the sauce, it sort of creates it sort of blends into the sauce, right? Instead of getting some larger pieces in there. If you don't have a food processor, you can still go right ahead and just chop these normally into kind of small pieces, and it should be just fine. So I'm just going to turn this back on here. So we're going to add this in and then we're going to let it cook for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes for a couple reasons. Number one is flavor development, of course. There's going to be a bit of caramelization that happens to these vegetables. And then also, because they're chopped so finely, there's going to be a lot of moisture that's going to come out of these vegetables. So we want to cook that off and make sure that it's evaporated out. So I'm going to add that now, and then we'll see what it looks like when it's done cooking in 5 minutes. So there's quite a bit here. Okay, so these veggies have been cooking for about 5 minutes now, and they've softened up nicely and it smells really great. And there's not really any excess moisture left in the pan, so that's kind of what you're looking for here. So the next step now is to add some chopped green pepper and some garlic. So I'm going to add that, as well as some sliced mushrooms. Mushrooms add a really nice flavor, really nice texture as well. I believe that's about 2 cups of that. So again, we're going to cook that for another 5 minutes or so, and we'll show you what that looks like when it's done. All right, so the peppers and the mushrooms have been cooking now, and they've softened right up. So the last step here is to just add your tomatoes and your spices here. So I have a mixture of basil, oregano, cayenne pepper, sugar, and a little bit of salt for some flavor here. So I'm going to add that in. And if you're wondering why the sugar is in there, it's just a small amount to kind of offset a little bit of the acidity that you're going to experience from the tomatoes. So it does help to kind of balance that out. It does make a difference. And then I just have a large can of crushed tomatoes here that I'm going to add. To add a whole level of excitement here, I decided to wear a white shirt when I'm making a tomato sauce, so let's hope that this doesn't end in disaster. So I'm going to add that all in there. So I'm just going to combine that all until it's evenly mixed, and then we're going to let this cook over. I'm going to turn down the heat to low and let it simmer for about 15 minutes to develop some flavors and to thicken up a little bit. So I'll show you the finished product when it's all done. So the sauce has finished cooking here. It's still simmering away, but I can turn it off anytime now. It's thickened up nicely. It smells really good. It's ready to eat, so you can have it as your meal, or as you can see, it makes a really large batch. So it's a great one to freeze in small portions to just pull out of the freezer later for a really quick meal. So I love those types of recipes. Or you can use it in other recipes altogether. So that leads me into my next recipe that I wanted to show you today. So I'll get started shortly on that one.